Hello, I am Jennifer Igwe. A warm welcome to Newsline, your live Sunday tonic loaded with human interest stories. What we have on our lineup today are eye-openers indeed. Yes. Now, most times when Makoko is mentioned, for instance, the ardent squalor and degradation in most parts of it comes to mind. But do you know the largest fresh fish market in Lagos is situated somewhere there? Well, fish sellers from fishing communities around Lagos converge on the market at a certain time of the day, and it is no small affair. You want to know more about it and why people beat deadline to buy fish there? Stay on the line. Then some of the evil we see today can be so shocking and a reflection of how heartless some people in the society can be. Our story on a baby that was stolen is an example of this. Thank God the abductor has been arrested. So what happened to the baby? You have to stay tuned for the story. Another case on our lineup is the ugly death of babies in a hospital in Delta State due to alleged negligence by the doctors and health personnel. How and why? Our correspondent following the story has details. Also on cue are celebrations of achievements and lifetime. I need to hold a bit so my colleague Claire Adelabu Abdurazak in Abuja can take the news segment. Newsline stories will follow after. Good to see you, Claire.
Jennifer, good to see you as well. And you're talking about Makoko. Makoko is unique in several ways. It will be good to see, the type of fish that comes out from that very unique community. All right, let me quickly welcome you to our Abuja studios and to the news. We begin with foreign stories. So President Muhammadu Buhari earlier today left Abuja for New York, United States, and that's ahead of annual meeting of world leaders, the United Nations General Assembly, ANGA. The seventh session of the General Assembly, which begins on Tuesday, will focus on transformative solutions to interlocking challenges. Discussions will center, among others, on the war in Ukraine, the energy crisis, climate action, ending the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as transforming education. President Buhari is expected to address the world leaders on Wednesday and participate in high-level meetings and side events, including the Nigeria International Economic Partnership Forum, convened by Nigeria in partnership with the Business Council for International Understanding. The president would also attend other key events on a practical approach to sustainable solutions organized by the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, as well as the EFCC, the PART program on combating illicit financial flows. The Nigerian leader is also scheduled to hold strategic bilateral engagements with world leaders, renowned investors, and heads of multinational organizations. On the entourage of the president include the First Lady, Aisha Buhari, some governors, ministers, and other top government officials. Now, to further open up the country's economy to international capital and attract foreign investment, the Nigerian government, in collaboration with the Africa Business Roundtable, is organizing the second edition of the Nigeria International Economic Partnership Forum, a global economic investment platform, this time in New York, United States.
The high-level event is scheduled for Thursday, 22nd September 2022, on the sidelines of the 77th United Nations General Assembly taking place in the American city. Holding alongside the annual global gathering, the Nigeria International Economic Partnership Forum is expected to draw the presence of world leaders in politics, economy, local and international media, and civil society organizations to focus on the vast economic potentials of Nigeria, Africa's leading economy. Most significantly, President Muhammadu Buhari will deliver the keynote address at the event and will also host a high-level presidential session with fellow presidents and heads of delegations on issues which need joint action for African countries on the development drive, such as the post-COVID-19 recovery and financing priority, Africa's investment climate and market, as well as de-risking the continent. The NIEPF will bring together respected global public and private sector players to meet minds on Nigeria's economic outlook, focusing on Nigeria in the global economy and international partnership for Nigeria on the development drive. In view of the wide spectrum of personalities attending the forum, there will be cluster thematic sessions on growing Nigeria's agriculture for food security and access to export markets, with special focus on impact of the Russia-Ukraine war, which presents opportunities for G7, G20 Nigeria partnerships in agriculture. Scaling up international resources for financing education in Africa, with emphasis on making facilities link government to link government, deal sponsors and international pools of capital in education, and Nigeria's oil and gas sector, reforms, results, and the road, focusing on scaling up investment into the gas market, plants, parks, cylinders, reinjection. Other issues slated for discussion include scaling up international resources for healthcare in Africa, bordering on upgrading and expanding Nigeria's healthcare infrastructure towards making Nigeria the healthcare hub for Africa. Climate change and paths to a clean environment, with emphasis on paths to clean economy, clean energy and clean development. Financing Nigeria's infrastructure, with emphasis on developing infrastructure such as farm-to-market corridor.
That was Najato Tijani taking that report for us. Now, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has arrived to London ahead of Queen Elizabeth II's burial scheduled for Monday, September the 19th. The Vice President is to represent President Muhammadu Buhari at the ceremony that will be attended by dozens of world leaders. As part of activities for the funeral service, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, alongside other dignitaries, will be received by King Charles III and Queen Consort Camilla at Buckingham Palace this evening. Before returning to Nigeria on Monday, the Vice President Osinbajo will hold bilateral meeting with the United Kingdom Foreign Secretary James Cleverly. The Vice President has also signed the condolence register. Now, many more world leaders are likewise arriving in London ahead of the Queen's funeral on Monday. About 500 heads of state and foreign dignitaries are invited amid heightened security. Our correspondent Charles Arthur tells us more.
President Joe Biden was among those who touched down overnight as the UK prepares for a gathering of leaders not seen in decades. The Queen's funeral will be screened in parks, squares and cinemas across the UK. It is the final full day the Queen will lie in state, and the queue to see her coffin is now 12 hours long. Camilla, the Queen's consort, has paid tribute to the Queen, saying she carved her own role in a world dominated by men. Last night, the Queen's 8 grandchildren, including Princes William and Harry, held a vigil for their grandmother in Westminster Hall. About 1,500 military personnel have been deployed since Tuesday night, and thousands of police officers are taking up positions in central London every day. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
And the Nigeria Consul General for the Northwest and Southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon, Lawal Bapa, has been honored by Governor of the Southwest region, Bernard Okalia Bilai, with an authority to conduct services of the foreign nation called Esquita. While presenting him with the letter, the Nigerian diplomat was asked to promote and conserve the economic dynamism of Nigeria in Cameroon and ensure the preservation of its interest as stipulated in the Escrita, and coordinate the activities of Nigerian community in its area of jurisdiction. He also called on Nigerians to always collaborate with the CG in the excise duty, which is to be executed in strict compliance with laws and regulations. The Consul General Lawal Bapa described as excellent diplomatic, economic, social relationship between Cameroon and Nigeria, which explained spans through history. The event brought scores of regional, administrative and traditional authorities together, such as the Nigeria High Commissioner to Cameroon, Ambassador Abayomi Olonishaki, Consul General of Nigeria in Douala, members of the Consular and Diplomatic Corps, as well as the Nigerian community in Cameroon. Mbako Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timipre Silva, says government policy on ICT in schools is aimed at preparing youths to participate creatively in the growth of a knowledge society for socio-economic development for global competitiveness. The minister made this known while inaugurating Information and Communication Technology Center for the benefit of no fewer than 3,000 students of Government Secondary School Kalgo in Dara.
I commissioned this project for the benefit of Katsina people and the whole of Nigeria to the glory of God.
Government Secondary School Kalgo in Dara has joined the IT Compliant Schools courtesy of Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board. State Minister of Petroleum Resources, Timipre Silva, says the establishment of the IT Center to enhance study, research, workshop and training in Nigerian schools.
Students can, through this facility, learn internationally. They can learn online. That means that they can stay here and be taught by anybody, anywhere in the world. So this now exposes the students here from Katsina State to the world, and we are quite happy that we've been able to do it.
Similar interventions of the well-equipped computer machines was done in some selected secondary schools across the country. The minister was at the Emir of Daura, Alhaji Umar Farooq Umar's palace to pay homage, where the title of Sarkin Kudin Kasar Hausa was given to him and will be bound later by the Emir. From Daura, Awal Halaru, NTA News.
And the 1.5 trillion naira recently recovered from oil and gas companies operating in Nigeria, the Buhari Media Organization BMO says, is another effort by the present administration to bring sanity to the sector. The amount is part of tax and fees identified by the Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiatives, NTA, in a 2019 report on a 2.6 trillion naira debt owed by 77 companies. NTA is an agency in the presidency created in 2007 in line with global best practices. But in President Buhari's watch, it became a proper watchdog in conformity with the NTA mission of promoting open and transparent management of oil, gas and mineral resources. It was gratifying that while FIRS had earlier recovered $810 million, NURPC got $1.416 billion, amounting to $2.226 billion, that's about 900 billion naira. It explains that by working with the National Assembly Review Committee, it was able to push the debtors to pay more, which then translated to FIRS getting an additional $662.9 million, while the NUPRC got $913.5 million, totaling about $1.576 billion, that's about 600 billion naira. BMO notes that it was not the first time NET and by extension the Buhari administration was living up to expectations in the sector in the last 7 years. The group adds that the Buhari administration will ensure that never again will the country be denied what is due it from the extractive industries. And as part of sustained efforts towards empowering the citizenry whose means of livelihood were crippled by over a decade ago insurgency, The new state government has again disbursed 100 million naira to 1,000 beneficiaries in Biu local government area of the state. The disbursement was part of Governor Babagana Umara Zulum's official engagement in Biu Emirate in southern Borno. Mohammed Goni reports.
Each of the 1,000 beneficiaries selected among women and youth receive 100,000 naira, which if properly invested will enhance trade and businesses in Biu Emirate. Governor Babagana Umara said government must sustain efforts to reduce unemployment and poverty, believed to be the part of the causes of Boko Haram insurgency, hence the continued assistance to the vulnerable citizens across the state. Commissioner for Youth Empowerment, Sport Development and Poverty Alleviation, Sain Abuja said the 1,000 beneficiaries were selected from wards across the local government area. It could be recalled that Governor Zulum had since 2019 distributed billions of naira to thousands of low-income citizens, especially unemployed youth, physically challenged, as well as aged men and women, to aggressively fight poverty across the state. Professor Babagana Umara, as part of engagement, also inaugurated shopping complex built by the local government council to boost local economy. He had earlier paid homage on the Emir of Biu, Moy Mustafa Umar Mustafa Aliu, who applauded Governor Zulum's developmental projects in Biu Emirate. From Biu headquarters of Biu local government, Mohammed Goni, NTA News.
In other stories, tactical operatives of Zamfara State Police Command have arrested 10 members of 2 notorious syndicates of informants to the criminals terrorizing the state. Now, the suspects, including 2 fake soldiers, were paraded along with a notorious terrorist at the police command headquarters in Gusau. Jamilu Ibrahim has the story.
Commitment of Zamfara State Police Command, led by CP Kolo Yusuf, to stem the tide of terrorists and their collaborators appears to be yielding the desired result, with the continuous smash and arrest of notorious members of various syndicates of criminals across the state. The arrest of 10 informants and collaborators of terrorists in Gusau, Safi, Bungudu, in Ornamudo local government areas of the state is the latest feat showcased by the command. 6 of the paraded suspects, including a fake soldier, allegedly specialized in giving information to terrorists and supplying them with arms and ammunition, as well as military uniforms.
The recent dirty criminality was when one of the suspects, Abubakar Menasara, aka Major, in his statement to the police, confessed of collecting the sum of 850,000 naira from the bandit to source for military camouflage uniforms for them. A consignment that was given to Babangida, known as Major, who connived with one of their collaborators, a tailor, Jamilu Lawali of Gusau local government area, to source and seal the uniforms, which at the end was delivered to the bandits.
Also paraded are some 2 young men aged between 25 and 27 who allegedly specialize in supplying motorcycles and foodstuffs to terrorists in the bush, as well as negotiating between families of kidnapped victims and their abductors in Safi local government area of the state.
In the course of interrogation, Al-Hassan Lawali confessed over 14 operational motorcycles to the bandit in the forest at the rate of 750,000 naira each.
The police operatives have also succeeded in arresting a 35-year notorious terrorist, popularly known as Umar Namharu, and one Zainul Lawal Safi, apprehended wearing military uniforms and in possession of some dangerous weapon and a fake military ID card. All the suspects have confessed to the crimes, even as they claimed to have regretted their actions. In Gusau, Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
And victims of recent flood in Kwantagora town have been advised to relocate to safer areas. Niger State Governor Abubakar Sani Bello gave the advice in a message to the presentation of relief materials at the palace of the Sultan Sudan of Kwantagora. Abubakar Mukhtar Woro has the report.
Flood had recently ravaged about 150 houses, displaced scores of persons, and killed 2 people. Majority of the flood victims allegedly built their houses along riverbanks in Kontagora, although the Niger State Governor Abubakar Sani Bello, during a sympathy visit, advised the flood victims said to have been compensated some decades ago not to rebuild their houses along the riverbanks but should relocate to safer areas. Some of the victims denied being compensated.
No, I don't see anybody. There are some settlements that will not be compensated. Those places were compensated and we have to leave.
Meanwhile, on the directive of the governor, the Niger State Emergency Management Agency presented food and non-food items to the flood victims.
We have taken our assessment. The government is looking into it to see what can we do to avert the future occurrence.
Items presented include 350 kg bags of rice, 200 bags of maize, 150 25 liters of palm and vegetable oil, 600 textile materials, 500 blankets and mats. The victims who condemned the governor's gesture said it will quicken the effect of their hardship, even though they are currently staying and taking refuge with their relatives in Kontagora town. Mukhtar Abubakar, NTA News.
That's where motorists applying the Kefi Lafayette Makurdi Road have raised alarm over collapsed culvert close to the Isa Mustafa Agwai Polytechnic Junction, which resulted to heavy traffic within that access. Abigail Bashi reports.
Approximately 4 kilometers away from the heart of Lafia is the culvert affected by rainfall, where a barricade has been installed, while motorists have to ply the other lane in order to get in and out of the city center.
One lane like this was not good, so they should try their best to do the other side quickly so that motorists will follow the other way.
It would be nice if the government should come and do a proper and a better work than how it is now.
The road linking the Isa Mustafa Agwai Polytechnic Lafia and Bukantidi is considered to be strategic and the only major highway in and out of Lafia, the state's capital. Meanwhile, the Federal Controller of Works in the state, Managing Director Nusra Urban Development Board, and the contractor visited the site to inspect and determine the level of damage.
It's a culvert that has collapsed, and you can see the mobilization. The contractor who is on the project is already mobilized to see what they can do to rectify the problem. We've already written earlier to the Honorable Minister for Works with some observation as regard to the ongoing project.
While advising motorists to drive with care, they gave the assurance that work will immediately commence to ensure the road is in good condition for all road users. In Lafia, Abigail Bashi, NTA News.
And a fatal auto crash has occurred in Jangoji, Gwagwalada Area Council of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, leaving at least 19 passengers dead and many injured. Our correspondent Abubakar Akwanga reports.
The 31 victims from this multiple auto crash no doubt had hopes of arriving at their destinations safely, but this never happened. Two of the Toyota Hiace buses fully loaded with commuters rammed into a moving truck and simultaneously caught up in flame, leaving 19 people burnt beyond recognition. The Federal Road Safety Corps attributed the incident to speeding and wrongful overtaking and appealed to motorists to observe safety road practices.
The other 12 victims had different grades of injuries. They are in the hospital. The crash happened at about 12 midnight. That means the visibility was low. The challenge with the night trip is that usually in a crash, the first responders are the community around that environment. So if the crash happens in the night, you may not have anybody that will come out to offer any assistance.
The two vehicles which left Kano and Zaria in Kaduna State were bound for Edo and Akwa Ibom states. Meanwhile, the road had since been cleared for free flow of traffic. In Abuja, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.